get right into it. Um, I'm going to, before I show that, let me just quickly go into some of the things that we did about slope intercept and about word problems. Okay, so if we remember, and this is in terms of, this is review, if we remember the slope intercept form, that was y is equal to mx plus b, where m was the slope, b was the y-intercept, and x and y were just variables. And if we remember, variables can be multiple numbers. They can be the result of a formula, or they can be just a number that we plug in. Okay? And this was a lot longer ago, but in terms of word problems, some of the ways that are helpful in solving word problems include asking yourself the questions: what do I know? What are they asking? And what can I introduce? In other words, what helps? Like, can I pictures, graphs, or tables are also examples. And today we'll show tables in when we do it. Okay? So I think when we ask these questions, then it helps us with the word problem. And then we're also going to look at labeling the values in here. What's M? What does it stand for from the word problem? What is X? What is B? What is the y-intercept? Okay, so we're just going to go over that a little bit, and we'll see what we do. Okay, we'll see how we go. We'll see what questions come up, um, and we'll just kind of go through it. Okay, so I'm just going to show problems straight from here, straight from my piece of paper here. Okay, um, so the first one, the yearbook will have a total of 156 pages. If each week the yearbook class will complete 8 pages, write an equation that models the number of pages left to be completed. Okay, so what do I know? I know that, and you know what, sometimes it helps with the table to do this. And I can do the table without having to do any calculations yet. So if I label my X table as the week number, and I label the Y table as the number of pages left, that may help me a little bit with this. Okay, so with our equation here, before the yearbook staff starts, before they begin, how many pages do they have left to do? Looks like 156. what about after 1 week? What will that be? After in each week, they'll complete 8 pages.
That would be 148.
Okay, how'd you come up with that, Ethan?
I just subtract like 156 minus 8.
Oh, okay. So 148, and we went minus 8 here. Okay. You know what? Let's do one more. What if it were if it were 2? Would we be subtracting 8 again?
Yeah, it would be. So
Okay.
that's
140. That may help us here. All right. So what do we know? We know that we started with how many pages?
156.
Okay. Start with 156 pages. And then what do we do for each week?
We minus 8. Well, like from the total amount of pages.
Okay. Subtract 8 pages each week. Okay. Do you think that's enough to be able to put it in a y is equal to mx plus b? I think we can do that. Because do you remember what was the x value when we had the y-intercept? Can somebody help me with that?
Zero?
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's on our table here, isn't it? We have an x value and a y value. Okay, so we could put that in. In fact, let me do it this way. What is b going to stand for? So that's the starting point of pages, right? So starting point for the pages. I'm just going to say YB for yearbook. So YB is only yearbook. That's all it stands for. And then what is X? What's X going to be equal to in our Y is equal to MX plus B if we label it? I think that's in our table too, isn't it? What do we list it here?
Weeks.
Yeah, the number of weeks. Yeah. Let's just put number of weeks. And that leaves what? Our slope. And so what, I think that's in our table as well, isn't it? That's
pages that are left.
or even the pages that we take away per week, right? Pages per week. All right. Do we have those in our numbers here? We already talked about the y-intercept, didn't we? And so what's the y-intercept? What's b going to be in here?
$156.
Yeah, that's our starting point. Yeah. 0 and 156. So that's our starting point. When they started, they had 156 pages to do. Okay. What X is a variable, so we'll just leave that as that. What's going to be our slope then? It's going to be our M value.
Eight.
Okay. All right, I'm going to try it. Let's try it. 8x. So let me plug in here. I'm just going to plug 1 in. And because it's already here and we've already figured out, y is equal to 8 times 1 plus 156. And that's going to make y equal to 8 plus 156. and that's going to be equal to 164. Let's see, that's not what's in our table though, is it? So I'm not sure that that works. Is there something else that we might try? What are we doing here? And what does it say that we were doing here? Subtract. So if we have subtract, what kind of clue does that give us? Or even up here,
It could be -8.
-8. All right, let's try that. I'm going to try it right over to the right here. So y is equal to -8 times x plus 156. So y is equal to, I'm going to plug 1 in again since we're using 1. -8 times 1. Oops, there's my 1. Plus 156, which is going to be equal to -8 plus 156. And that's going to give us 148. And that looks quite a bit like what we have up here, isn't it? Okay, so you know what? That's something that's so easy to do, is that we look at this number here and we say, oh, 8. Yeah, it says 8 right there. And when I say it's so easy to do, I was doing the same thing. So since we figured out that it takes away 8 every time in our table, then that gives us kind of a clue that it's -8. Okay, so look what we did here. We used our word clues for the word problem. We figured out what we knew, which was started with 156 pages, and each week we subtracted 8 pages. Okay, we created a little table to help us. We said, since we started with 156, that was 0 and 156. And then we used the next clue to subtract 8 every week. And that kind of provided us with the information to fill out the equation. Okay. I hope you guys wrote this one down, because this is one of the first ones of the homework, actually. So we said, we asked what we knew. We found out, we asked what they were asking, which is write an equation that models the number of pages left to be completed. Okay. Then we introduced a table, and that helped us. And then we labeled the y-intercept, which we got from which the table helped us with. We labeled the x value, which the table helped us with, and the slope, which the table and the calculations in the table helped us with. And then at the end, we even used the table to help us in our check to make sure that we were doing it correctly, that we were coming up with it correctly. Okay, I like the way you guys did that. That was good. Okay, so here's what we're going to do now. So hang on, we're going to go back. Okay, I need to share. So in this, I'm about to show you a clip. It's about astronaut Terry Virts, V-I-R-T-S. In this, there is an equation in here, and there is information in here. So remember what we did from our, we used the information that we were given in our word problem here. This is going to be kind of a visual / verbal word problem. So it's going to be important for you to pay attention and write down what some of the information that's given in here, so that you can utilize it in the word problem that we're going to, and when I say we, it's going to be all of us, the word problem that we're going to create. Okay. So let me reshare it. We're going to share the sound. Can everybody see the screen with a man? Looks like he's speaking into the microphone.
Yep.
Okay, so let's and then I'm just going to put introduce. So you guys help me. What do we know? What do we find out in there? What's some information? What do we?
That 4 out of 7 days, or just 4 out of 4 days out of the week, he does not exercise. The other 3 days he does exercise.
Oh, sorry, you were cutting out just a little bit there, Ethan.
4 out of 7 days he exercises. He doesn't exercise 3 out of 3 days.
Okay. Okay. Who else came up with something in there?
I heard something about like him saying that every month, like for 1 month, you lose like 1.5% of your bone mass.
Okay. Bone density loss. Bone. Can I use density instead of mass? Does that work?
Yep.
Okay.
He exercises for 2 hours and he does it consistently.
Exercise. It's pretty cool. I mean, can you imagine spending 200 days in space? Wow. 200 days weightless and spacewalking in that. Exercise 2.5 hours per day. Okay. Anything else that we know? How many days did say that it was up there?
Well, the title said 200.
Oh, okay. Well, let's use that. I think that's going to matter. Anything else? So what do we want to figure out here? How about we figure out how much bone density that he would have lost for the time he was up there if he didn't exercise? Can we figure that out? Oh, but wait, we have days and this is per month. How am I going to figure that out?
You could divide 200 by 30.
Oh, why 30?
Oh, it's because that there are about 31 days in a month.
Okay, so average month is 30 days?
Yeah, and
Okay.
that would be 6 months in space, or around 6 months.
Convert days into months, not moths, months. So 200 divided by 30, which is the average number of days in a month, is equal to
6.666, and it goes on infinitely.
how about we just let's just round that up and call it 7. Okay. All right. So how about is there anything else that we need to know? If I made a table, what would my X value be? What would my X label be?
maybe days. Uh,
I think we just call it months. And then my Y would be, I'm going to use Griffin's term of bone mass because it's easier to write. Lost.
I think
Or
someone
bone
else
mass.
said that.
How about bone mass total? Not lost. How about total? Percent as a percent. So what value do we start with on the other table that we did on the yearbook?
156.
That was on the right. What did we use for the X value?
We use weeks.
Okay. And what was the first value that I put in?
0.
All right, let's try that again. At 0, how much, what's his bone mass at that point as a percentage? Before he gets on the shuttle.
Do you mean like how much he has lost so far?
Nope. I mean, I crossed out the lost. I reconsidered.
100%.
That would be, yeah.
Say it again. 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. And since I put the percent there, I'm just going to keep it there. What about after 1 month if he doesn't exercise?
98.5%.
Everybody agree with that?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, Morgan, tell me, how did we get from 100 to 98.5?
Every month they lose like, if they don't exercise, they lose like 1.5% of their bone mass.
Okay.
So-
And that's
so
from
like-
up here. All right.
Yeah.
And so, oh, look at this. That's kind of a clue there. Loss. If it was gain, it would probably be plus. So loss would be what here?
Minus.
All right. I think that might be a clue for us. So we put down what we know, and we kind of know what we want is that, and we've introduced a table. Let's see if we can, we have our Y is equal to MX plus B. What's B going to be if we label it? If we label it in terms, what's B going to be able to be equal to? We put bone mass there, so it's bone mass, oops, bone or density. Is it just bone density or is it something else? Should I add more? You know what? I think I'm going to add beginning because that is really where it was, wasn't it? The beginning bone density. What about, what is our X value? What's that if we labeled it? Anybody have any ideas? Yasha, you got any ideas about what the X value might be here?
It is months.
Oh, yeah, the number of months. Okay. Yeah, it works for me. We kind of labeled that too, didn't we? Okay, what's our slope going to be then? Can somebody help me with that?
Maybe the amount you're subtracting every time.
Yeah, 1.5.
Okay, how would we label that? What did I put up here? Bone density.
Like loss per
maybe-
month.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
density.
Yeah, let's use that. Bone density loss per month. So you may be asking me, why is he doing this? Why is he putting this down? I'll tell you why I do it. Because I go through word problems too fast and get them wrong. Okay, and I'm going to put percent there. So if I put these down, and problems aren't about going fast, they're about understanding it and going better. So we've got in here, so we've got, we labeled it now. So I think I can pick it out of this data here. So why don't you guys help me with this? So y is equal to, what's our bone density loss per month in terms of a number?
1.5.
Is it?
Negative
Wait, no.
1.5
Why do we say negative 1.5?
because he's losing the bone mass.
Lose, yeah, loss. Yeah, there we go. Loss would be negative. I like the way we looked at. Negative 1.5. And then x, because it's a variable, right? Plus what? What am I going to put in for b here? What was the beginning bone density?
100.
100. And why do we choose that?
Because that is his bone density before he went to space. That's how he started.
All right, it was at 100%. Okay. So how much would he have lost after 7 months? How do we figure that out?
We would put 7 in the
But-
place of x.
Yeah, because
Oh,
x is 7, or 7 is equal to x.
negative 1.5 times 7 plus 100. Can somebody help me with what negative 1.5 times 7 is?
Negative 10.
That would be negative.
Negative 10.5, thank you. Plus 100, and what's that going to come out to? I think I know, but why don't you guys confirm it for me?
Wouldn't that just be 88.5? No, sorry, 89.5.
All right, that sounds about right to me. 89.5. So for 7, we got 89.5. So there is our equation. Okay, we did a little table. And look, we were able to solve how much bone, what bone mass he would have lost if astronaut Terry Virts had not been exercising. Okay. Hey, so once again, look what we looked at the word problems. We wrote down what we knew. Okay. And remember, not every bit of information we might use. What are they asking? Or in this case, what do we want? And then what can we introduce? We kept introducing a table, and it helped us with our slope intercept part. The other part that we did was that we labeled our values, because that would help us plug the numbers in. So the reason why I do it is that it helps me plug the numbers in. It helps me see it in my mind a lot better. Otherwise, what I do is I just start throwing numbers in there, and they don't always go right. In my previous job, I was doing lots of formulas, lots of linear formulas, and I would come up with graphs that were looking, there's no way this could be right. It was because I didn't label things because I was going too fast. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys 7 minutes